So a crypto bear market or bull market, where do we stand right now? Many individuals have recently got involved with cryptocurrency for the first time and swiftly exited the markets, leaving behind a trail of red, whereas others who have been here for a longer period of time have been steadily accumulating. This story paints its own picture. Strong hands have accumulated and weak hands have left. So in today's video, let's have a look at where we stand right now. What's changed and where do we go from here? If you enjoyed the content in today's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see a in-depth video on my thoughts over the last week, check out my Patreon link down below. Did a full stream on this last night. So the fear and greed index still showing extreme fear here with a rating of 10. No, it does not go negative. It can go as low as 0. However, we are on a 10 rating right now. Sentiment, although shaky, is starting to pick back up. I think when this updates, we will start to see the fear and greed index pick back up a little bit. It was showing a reading of 14 yesterday, but we're starting to see a little bit of a relief rally across the markets right now as of filming. So we know the events over the last week have all been to do with whales and manipulation, news stories, FUD, just a combination of all of these factors playing together at the same time, driving out the new investors whilst whales fill their bags. So it's important to remember where we stand right now, with the macroeconomic situation looking very sketchy to say the least, with the biggest monetary policy experiment ever taking place currently ongoing, and with the fundamentals behind the top cryptocurrencies looking up with major improvements coming this year. It's hard to see why the crypto market would enter a bear trend right now. So let's start here with Chainlink. During the year 2021, Chainlink is about to bring out staking. This is an event that has been anticipated for quite some time. We've pretty much been waiting for around 2 years for staking to go live, and these contracts should be live by the end of this year. No definitive date, but when this happens, this means a lot of Chainlink will be taken up out of supply, locked away as people start to stake those Link tokens. And we know the Chainlink Marines are going to be doing this in force. I myself will be staking my Link as I see this as a cornerstone of my portfolio and something I really do not want to sell. I feel like this would be selling an early Apple or Google stock, as the number of integrations Chainlink have with both real-world businesses and cryptocurrencies is so extensive you could barely fit it on one piece of paper. We're talking about hundreds of partnerships, as this project is the go-to Oracle provider, enabling smart contracts to actually be smart. Polkadot and Kusama yet to launch their Parachains, both of these coming very soon, with Kusama expected to take place over the coming weeks. We've just had the Polkadot Decoded conference, and so what bull market would be complete without these parachain auctions taking place and these ecosystems being set up and showing us the true meaning of interoperability. Ethereum has EIP 1559 coming in July. It then moves to a merge where proof of stake goes live by the end of this year if they keep to the roadmap. Again, what bull market would be complete without these events taking place? We're going to see Ethereum potentially become deflationary and start to rival Bitcoin as a store of value asset. And last time I checked, Bitcoin still has a maximum capped supply of 21 million Bitcoins. This has not changed. The fundamentals for all of these projects have not changed. The only thing that has changed is the price in USD. 1 Bitcoin still equals 1 Bitcoin. And so as the whale manipulation tests us time and time again, you have to look at the broader picture and understand that the fundamentals for these projects are only going to strengthen over time. Mass adoption is going to continue, and the prices for these in the long run are only going up. Then if we look at the macro picture here, with more US dollars being printed over the last 15 months than were previously in existence, and this M1 money supply for the US dollar looking like a straight up erection, we know that wide-scale inflation is on the cards. Even if we are told by governments that there is no inflation or it's below 2%, below the target, we might have to pick it up, that kind of stuff, you know it's all nonsense. The consumer price indexes that they use are cherry-picked and the numbers massaged to make us think there is no inflation, but we all know what is coming. On top of this, interest rates, if you can get 0.25% at your local bank, you are doing well at this point, with many places now into negative interest rates. So it actually costs you to keep your money in a bank. We're also seeing universal basic income being talked about more and more, with trials actually starting to be rolled out in the UK, in both Scotland and Wales. And so in a world of monetary expansion, no yield, where are people going to be putting their money to make it grow? The answer is crypto. The answer is DeFi. The answer is in plain sight, right in front of us. The crypto markets have everything that we need to succeed. So exiting the market at this point is one of the biggest opportunity costs of your lifetime. So I highly suggest, not financial advice, that if you are considering selling up and moving on, that you will live to regret that decision. So whilst many retail investors have been panic selling, the whales continue to accumulate. Over 122,000 Bitcoins have gone into the pockets of whales over the last week during this massive dip and this market correction, or as we like to call it, the manipulation of a lifetime. So using data from Glassnode, Anthony Pompliano brought this up, and he says that these so-called whales, entities holding between 10,000 and 100,000 BTC, purchased an additional 122,000 BTC during the heights of the market crash last Wednesday. And we have one prominent whale down here who had 3,000 BTC, was selling it around 58,000 and then rebought back in at the 30k levels, and now sits on a pretty 3,521 Bitcoins. Not a bad week's work. So time and time again, we see the strong hands taking the coins from the weak hands, and the money passes from the impatient to the patient. So when you zoom out and look at the Bitcoin chart over a longer and extended period of time, this is just going to be a blip on the roadmap. This is not how a Bitcoin bull market ends, with a nice round off and capitulation then. We end with violent euphoric moves to the upside and this retail-driven FOMO. These are things that we haven't really seen during this cycle yet, and we know, as we're told time and time again, there is a big wall of money coming in. Well, this was the sign that the wall of money is arriving. They're the ones manipulating you, making you believe the false narratives, so you sell the coins and then they can accumulate as much as possible, get their pound of flesh before they send this off to the top right-hand corner. And we're now starting to see an uptick in price over the last 24 hours. Our Buddhist monk friends here praying for a Bitcoin revival, and maybe they're going to get our prayers answered. So we've seen a lot of green now over the last hour and last 24 hours. But this just could be a relief rally. I'm sure a lot of investors are looking to sell off into any bounce that we see, like right now. And so I would still urge caution before FOMOing back into the market, as we could see some further chop around these levels. But this is a very good sign, the fact that we're starting to see green come back into play, and hopefully a bottom has formed for many of these altcoins, which have taken an absolute pasting over the last 7 days. Big props here down to Polygon, number 16 here, up 76% in the last 24 hours. This one has truly snapped back like a rubber band. There's some other big performance here, the likes of VeChain as well, up 42%. But a lot of bargains still to be had in the market. I'd have to point out Polkadot at just $20 and Terra down at $6.54 as two of the most undervalued of the bigger cap plays here that have not yet bounced back as hard as the rest. So what we've been seeing is a lot of holders of stablecoins right now. The amount of stablecoins on exchanges now up to around $13.5 billion. And if you're like me, and you like to watch the whale alert Twitter feed going off, you will see a lot of USDT being printed from the Tether treasury and moving to exchanges. Here's 75 million going to Binance. We also saw 1 million BNB taken from Binance to someone's own wallet. There's also another 98 million USDC transferred from the USDC treasury to an unknown wallet, and even $82.5 million being printed at the USDC treasury. And this is a story that you can follow along with on the Whale Alert Twitter feed. So it looks like these US dollar stablecoins are about to be deployed in a big way. And that's probably part of the reason we're seeing all these green numbers, that these dollars are starting to trickle back into the markets. So while some investors believe we are in the bull trap and that we've actually had the peak of the market cycle and now we're about to see a fake out and capitulation occur, I am of the opinion that we are in the bear trap phase of the market here. Institutions have arrived and we're about to get to this point where we have full-on public FOMO and we move into greed, delusion, and the new paradigm eras. And if you look back throughout the previous market cycles, when there's been huge sell-offs during the 2013 run, during the 2017 run, it's then preceded by massive upside moves. And those who were shaken out will be left feeling gutted. So if you've sat on the ride this far and it's been a white knuckle journey, you may as well sit through the rest of it and find out for yourself whether we go on to make these parabolic moves and if you're able to really change your financial future. So a bit of bear trap hopium here. Someone's posted this. In 2013, there was a shakeout from the first local top. We dropped from $259 to $86 before pumping to $1,163. In 2017, from $4,700, we dropped down to $2,900 before then ultimately going on to the all-time high of $19,666. And now in 2021's market, we've dropped from 61K to 30K. But where will we pump next? A lot of people suggesting the 6-figure Bitcoin is definitely not off the cards. People speculating that we can go up to 2, 3, even 400K. So I think at this point, when your portfolio has already just been decimated over the last week, the risk to reward is now in your favor, and your conviction in the market will see you handsomely rewarded. And just to end on some market psychology here from Erect Capital, just because everyone is fearful doesn't mean you have to be. Red is just a color on a chart and price is just a number. Find ways to disassociate yourself from emotion, as emotions can blind you from opportunity. And I know we all have these feelings. Should we sell because the price has gone down so far? Well, put it the other way. If you hadn't seen any change in the value of your tokens or coins, would you be selling them? The answer is no. So why would you sell them during a red period? You need to act counterintuitively to the market. Every time I've been able to do that, I've been handsomely rewarded time and time again. Of course, this will come to an end when the market does peak out, but I'm not expecting this to come just yet. So this was my rallying call to stay in the game, to keep the faith, and hodl for dear life. I hope everyone is keeping safe and well. Make sure you exercise, keep yourself mentally sane. We are going to get through this. It's going to be some ups and some downs, but the ultimate goal is that financial freedom. That is the reward at the end of this, and generational wealth is at stake. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you subscribe if you are new here. Check out my Patreon link down below, and I will see you guys very shortly. Goodbye.